welcome to Food Travelers. In this episode, we are in Scottsdale, Arizona, visiting a French restaurant called Sottise. It's a really nice restaurant, Micah, with a really unique atmosphere on the outside. It's a converted house, and I think just the way the setting is, it's really spot on in terms of going to like a French bistro, local bistro.
Yeah, a little bit of information about this restaurant. They are open Tuesdays through Saturdays from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. and from Sundays from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. and closed on Mondays. On their website, they do state that reservations are recommended due to the limited seating. And since you did come here kind of late, Simon, how was the parking?
Parking was pretty good. As I mentioned, it's kind of a converted house, and so it has kind of the street parking, and there's not really, I would say, a parking lot, at least not that I noticed. So I ended up parking on the street, just kind of parallel parking, and it wasn't too bad because it was, as you mentioned, much later in the evening, so it wasn't super full, and I was able to kind of come in and take a seat right away. And so starting off, I actually had a drink, and this looked really interesting when I saw it on the menu. It had this kind of fluffy corn pineapple, but it's called a talkie-walkie. It has mezcal, the passion fruit, the pastis, and then some fluffy pineapple, some additional things to it. But it was really interesting, Micah, because you would drink it and you'd get a little piece of the puff corn. It had nice flavor. There's a little bit spice to it, but you drink it and essentially you'd have to chew on the puff corn right after you drink it. It was really interesting.
Yeah, it does look pretty interesting. And looking at the menu, all the drinks do look very interesting as well, and the ingredients in general. So for that drink, did it come with like a spoon or like a larger straw, like kind of like those boba straws, so you could drink everything easily?
Nope, it was just straight up, I guess you could say, just as you go take a sip, and everything, whatever you had at that moment, here your mouth would kind of fall in, and that's the sip you get. But it was interesting because you'd have the different textures depending on what you ate it with. So not every sip was exactly the same. So I thought it was interesting. And of course, if you move into the interior, one of the things I really enjoyed was just seeing that record player they had, and they were actually playing the live music from the records as it was coming out, and people were switching on and off as you kind of went throughout the night, and it was pretty cool just to watch, to see something like that.
So with that record player, were you allowed to like go in and change your own songs or play something that you liked, or was it pretty loud inside too?
It wasn't blasted too loud. I think they kept it at a pretty decent volume where if you were with a guest, you could speak with them and hear, but you could also hear in the background the music they were playing. And they were playing some old French music, so that was nice. So it definitely did match the atmosphere. But as you move along, this is the appetizer I had, and this is the escargot. And Micah, before we actually went to Vegas and we actually went to a French restaurant on this trip, we had escargot. And so when I got this one, I was thinking, okay, I can kind of compare because they were very similar in terms of the escargot that they got. They're exactly the same, but just how they prepared it in terms of the butter or whatever else was different. One of the things I really did enjoy was that they seemed to have pulled out the escargot from the shell itself and then placed it back in, so you didn't have to really struggle to pull anything out like we had when we were in Vegas, and it was really, really tough to try to get in and dig out the piece of meat inside the shell.
Yeah, I think that's very important. I think more restaurants should actually do that. Pull the meat out, put it back in, cook it, and bring it out for the guests so that it makes it easier to eat. Because I remember when we were in Vegas at that restaurant, it was really difficult to come up to take it out. And it doesn't matter what kind of utensils the restaurant gives you, like a steak knife or something else. If it's stuck inside, it's like almost impossible to take out.
Yeah, we had a really tough time in Vegas trying to grab those out, that we ended up having to get another one. But as we move along, for the entree, we had the beef bourguignon, which is short ribs, and of course it was braised in red wine, and it had a kind of a potato puree that it came with. This was nice. It was braised well. Of course, the texture was really nice, soft, really great beef flavor. So it's pretty much that, at least for me, what I would think of French home-style cooking, and that's exactly what it reminded me of.
Yeah, it's definitely a great dish to have. I like this. I think both of the dishes you had, the escargot and this beef bourguignon dish, is great. Like especially with the bread, you can soak up all the sauces and everything. That's a good texture and mixture for that. But I'm kind of curious though, like why did you choose this dish over something else from a French restaurant?
Well, for me, I was actually going for the pork shank, but they sold out, and they actually sold out in quite a few things that I actually wanted as my original. I was okay with the escargot, but I was actually looking for something else. I wanted the French onion soup, but they ran out of that, and so I ended up getting the escargot. For the entree, I wanted the pork shank, but they ran out of that, so I got the beef bourguignon. And then even coming up here, the dessert, I actually wanted something else, but they ran out, and then I ended up getting the dessert here, as you can see.
Yeah, I thought this was a interesting dessert. When I first looked at this video, I was thinking, man, why did you get such a sweet dessert? Is this like kind of, I guess, kind of off? Like it's not something we would normally order, because to me, like looking at the ingredients, it looks like it will be on the sweeter side of things.
It wasn't too bad. It wasn't sweet, like overly sweet, like how you can encounter sometimes. It had the nice caramel. It was the texture of the caramel was right in the middle, where it wasn't too soupy and it wasn't too thick, and so it actually was easy to kind of scoop in and get a piece of it and pulling it out, and it didn't stick to your teeth as you're eating it, so that was nice. The custard actually knocked down the sweetness of the caramel too, so it actually was a pretty decently balanced sweet dessert without being overly sweet.
So at that point of the meal, did you still have your drink? Like, was it good pairing with everything, or were you just down to water?
By the dessert, I actually finished my drink by then, and I actually think if I did have remnants of the drink while I was at dessert, it probably wouldn't have mixed too well, but you never know. You might hit a flavor combination that just shoots out and is really delicious, but overall, I really did enjoy the restaurant. I really liked the atmosphere. That was one of the things that stood out the most. But definitely I would like to try some things that I wanted to try before but wasn't able to at this time, but maybe again once another time. And to wrap up the episode are our notables, and unfortunately for this episode we did not have any notables.
And to support our channel, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for the YouTube algorithm. And for more photos, follow us on Instagram. See you guys on the next episode.